Earlier this week, leaked video surveillance of the Uvalde police and their response to the shooting in Robb Elementary School was published. Now, there was massive outrage about a lot of the images and video that was released. Of course, obviously, 21 people were killed. 19 of them were children. So understand, just horrifying. And now, upon seeing that video, of course, I and many others were outraged that so many officers had refused to go into the classroom to stop the killing. And I specifically pointed to an officer that was checking his phone. So I'm going to show you the image here of the person that I had criticized. So look, that officer, Punisher phone lock, and I believe I called him a lot of terrible things. Let's just say that, including a coward, and saying that this person was illustrative of all the cops and their cowardice. Now, it turns out I was wrong massively. So, not good. Now, the officer in the photo, and this is why I need to come out and correct the record here. The officer in the photo is Ruiz. Ruiz's wife was shot. When he was checking his phone, it was a message from her as she was dying in the classroom. Now, the story actually gets worse from there, because his wife, Eva Morales, lay dying inside one of the classrooms. He had received that message from her on his phone. That message, again, said that she was shot. And so he wanted to go in. Naturally, of course, other officers, ultimately ended up escorting him from the scene and disarming him. So Morales was alive when the police did transport her from the classroom, but died before reaching the hospital. And so, again, very important context here. He was attempting to engage, but was removed from the building and disarmed by the other police officers. Now, when I reported this, I didn't know the context. And so, of course, as a reaction, I jumped to judgment. I got it very, very wrong, and I deeply apologize. And so this is a man who ultimately lost everything. I criticized him without knowing the context. I feel terrible about it because again, this information wasn't available at the time that I had reported it. In fact, because of the criticism of him was so just intense, news reporting agencies like the Austin American-Statesman came out and said, okay, look, we were going to release this information later with the rest of the report and the investigators, but because of the criticism of this man was so heavy, we decided to release it earlier because there's no reason this man needs to be criticized after losing everything. And so, again, I feel terrible about what I said about him. He did nothing wrong. That doesn't mean the other cops are off the hook. In fact, it makes the ones who escorted him off and disarmed him seem even worse. But in this case, Ruiz deserves an apology. And so, as a result, I've taken down a video where I criticized him from social media. It's not because I've wanted to hide what I said. Obviously, I'm doing an apology video, and I'm owning up to my mistakes. I'm acknowledging it here. But I didn't want it out anymore, just in case any one of his family members or himself might have stumbled around across it and done more damage. He has, again, suffered one of the most devastating losses here. Now, one more thing, too. I also criticized hand sanitizer guy. Now, according to the sources involved with the shooting investigation, who are not members of law enforcement, again, I don't really trust cops, I think for good reason. So these investigators who were not members of law enforcement also noted the context for this man, that officer who was in plain clothes, who was getting the hand sanitizer, was asked by the U.S. Border Patrol to prepare to help triage victims. And so, obviously, if you're going to be helping triage victims, well, you're going to put on hand sanitizer, you're going to put on gloves, and you're going to, in order to do their jobs very safely. So again, on these two instances, I got it wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Again, I apologize for my rush to judgment, and I will make sure to try to do better in the future.